Okay, that's the view coming in from Sandeep Tandon. Let's move on. Let's welcome on board Pramod Agrawal, CMD at Coal India, and talk about how is it that they're navigating through ESG concerns. Mr. Agrawal, great to have you on the show. Help us understand how is the company focusing currently on ESG, because that clearly seems to be the big theme across. How is it that you're looking to focus here? What investments are you looking at making?
In coal mining, the greatest concerns are related to felling of the trees and the dust pollution. These are the things that affect the areas adjoining the coal mines. So these are the areas which we need to address immediately. And the third thing is carbon, whatever the carbon is generated. So about cutting of the trees, statutorily, we are required to rehabilitate twice the area that we consume in our mining, a forest area that we consume in our mining. That is a statutory requirement. But besides that, Coal India has always been doing a lot of plantation. Actually, in last 4 years, excluding this year, we have done plantation of about 4,000 hectares of land and about in 5 years, we have done 4,000 hectares of land and about 50 million. We do about 800 million trees at every year. But this year, we have increased our area to 1,340 million hectares, and we are doing trees of about more than 150 million trees this year. So we are trying to increase the plantation by about 40% this year, and we will continue to increase this further. Coming to the dust pollution, the major step that Coal India has taken is mechanization of our evacuation process.
Right. So could you talk about, the importance of coal as well as power companies taking on the ESG theme and why globally it's an important step, which is being taken by coal as well as power companies?
See, global mining, all the giants have invested a lot of money in this mechanization and plantation, etc. And this we are doing also. So it is not something very unique to Coal India, but Coal India was slightly late in doing all these things. We are now doing it in a much aggressive manner. That is the point I wanted to say.
Good morning. Let's talk about the global buzzword these days, which is, of course, ESG, going green, going renewable, reducing carbon footprint. But it does come at a cost. It's a high entry cost as well. How inflationary is it?
See, I won't say it will be inflationary. It does involve some extra expenditure, but then this is required to be done because otherwise the health and safety of the people living in the vicinity of the coal mine will get adversely affected. Most of the time, mining cannot happen unless we have got social sanction for doing the mining thing. So to improve that social sanction or to improve that social acceptability, we have to invest in ESG. See, if we say that we are moving away from the coal, that is completely a different issue. But coal has to be produced in an environmentally sustainable way. It may cost a bit more, but it won't be so high that it will cause inflation.
We, recently saw the company Coal India announce an interim dividend of 9 rupees a share. What is the payout ratio? What can we expect in the rest of the financial year and any guidance going forward? This is, of course, something shareholders will be watching out for, keeping in mind, of course, the fixed capex that you've got of 17,000 crores.
We are targeting to give a very high dividend, and payout ratio last year was in plus 90%, and this year we think that we will be able to maintain that type of ratio.
Right. You recently said in a conference, stating that renewables are likely to grow faster as opposed to coal. Wanted to understand that given that coal-based power demand is also likely to grow, What does this really mean, and how exactly do you think coal demand is going to shape up in the days to come?
See, the demand of energy is likely to increase at the rate of 5 to 6%. All the estimation says that the coal demand will also increase in the range of, for power only I'm talking, will increase for 3 to 4%. Besides that, there is requirement of coal in other sectors as well. We have to increase our cement production, we have to increase our steel production, and for all those things, coal is required. So I personally foresee that the coal requirement in the country will increase in the range of 5% in coming years, and it will continue for quite some time. The solar energy, etc., will meet a portion of the demand, means a fraction of the demand, but as we have seen that it is not a reliable source of energy. When there is a heavy rain, when there is wind pressures are different, then those generations get adversely affected. And at that point of time, it is for the whole burden shifts to the coal. So we have to keep our preparedness to meet all this contingency. And at the same time, if India has to improve, India has to develop, the energy consumption is going to go high.
So how are e-auctions looking like, and how are they progressing?
The e-auction prices now what we are getting is higher than 50%. In certain coal, we are getting much higher prices. On the average, we have got more than 50% this year compared to 13% last year. And in coming months, I think that e-auction price will continue to remain in the same range.
Okay, so we've covered auctions as well, but let's talk about the demand as well as production for coal. Can you share with us, are you on target to meet the production timelines that you've signed a memorandum of understanding with the government, and the kind of ramp up, if any, that we can expect in the next financial year?
See, the demand this year is likely to be very high, and we will be able to meet all the demand of power sector, but meeting demand of non-power sector may become slightly difficult this year. Last year, we ended with a stock of about 100 million ton. That stock has reduced to 32 million ton. But in coming months, the stock will increase, but the demand production will also increase. And we are expecting that we will close the year with dispatches higher than 670 million ton.
Okay, that's the word coming in as far as production ramp up and demand goes. If one were to see the balance sheets, we will see that the receivables has fallen from what, 19,600 crores in FY21. It's currently at 14,900 crores for the first half of this financial year. Will this trend actually continue? And, what is this going to mean going forward? Is this being led by linking of supply to the clearance of dues of generators? That's, of course, been a new practice that's come in.
See, we have to get the money against the coal we are supplying, and we have to put certain pressure. But the pressure has to be slightly calibrated. It should be such that it does not affect the power situation in the country, but at the same time, we have to reduce the receivables, and for that we are putting all the pressures which we can over the generators, so that they also give us money. Unless we put pressures, we know that power energy sector is slightly in difficulty there these years, and unless we put pressure on them, perhaps it will be they will not be willing to pay, and hence we are putting certain pressures so that we get our money.
Our final question, thank you so much for being so candid for all of these various issues. But the final one, I'd like to make it more macro. The shareholders, investors, analysts that are tuning in at the moment, talk to us about the growth outlook going forward. What is it that we can expect? This is a year that has been one of disruption, not just in India, but that's been a global phenomenon that has taken place.
FY22 should be one of the highest growth year as far as dispatch is concerned, but production increase will be in the range of 6 to 7%, not beyond that, because first half of this year we had to face a lot of difficulty in terms of COVID and in terms of very high rainfall. But coming months should be much better than what we have seen in this year.
Okay, so we're going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us. Coal India, the last couple of sessions was, of course, in focus because of the interim dividend of 9 rupees a share. But great to have the top management here taking you through the demand outlook, production ramp up that is going to take place, and the buzzword as far as ESG goes.